Greetings, community. It's Kevin from Onetwocomictalk In. Yes, it's Tuesday, but we'll pretend it's Saturday. And it's an Artist Alley. That's right. Artist Alley on a Tuesday. Why? Why not? So, hey, there's a reason why. I was first brought to attention of a person that came with this awesome story. I'm so looking forward to discussing it with you, the community. But however, first, let's do this. Let's bring in our longtime co-host, Chrissy Shin. Hey, Chrissy, how you doing?
What's up? It's going good. I had a weekend. I did things. I drew some more. I had like a really weird drawing thing on lunch hour, my podcast thing or webcast thing. And we were drawing lady bits. I don't know why that just sort of happened, but you guys want to check that out. It's on YouTube on my channel. So
I definitely have to catch that on the rewind. When you say lady bits, I want to hear just a couple specifics, please. Come on.
Oh, I drew my friend's uterus. Mind you, I never actually have seen my friend's uterus, but me being a woman myself, it's like I just drew this uterus, and it was like around the time where we ladies love to deal with. You guys love it even more when you deal with us on this time. And that was some shit. And then it graduated to an ovary, like saying fuck the kids. And then we were talking about potato fajitas off some really gross things that we saw off Instagram.
You know what? To me, this is a perfect way to go ahead and introduce our guest. Let's bring in Steve Urena.
Hey, Steve. How's it going?
Hey, Steve. How you doing?
Doing good. Doing good on the East Coast here.
And this is our show. This is how we do it.
Uteruses and potatoes. You know what I mean? It's a good. That's a good mix of a range of topics.
It's terrible. It's really terrible. Like, you don't want to know. Where are you on the East Coast, if we may ask?
I am currently in Connecticut, but I am from New Jersey. So I have been going back and forth during this quarantine, be with my girlfriend and be with my family, to kind of have a mix of both.
Oh, okay. Okay.
Hey, I want to thank you for being here. I know that you had to rush from work, you know what I mean, to get here on this time, and I appreciate it. You know what I mean? We were grateful that we could actually have you. I got this time schedule of a work coming up that, man, I really wanted the community to see this project. When I was first introduced to this project, I was like, oh my God, are you kidding me? And before we get into all that, though, I would really like you to go ahead and give a little brief bio on who you are, what kind of led you to this point, just to give a little bio into the community so they can kind of give a feel exactly who Steve Urena is.
Absolutely. So hello, everybody. My name is Steve Urena. I am a 31-year-old writer out of the East Coast, mostly in Connecticut, but I do go back and forth between Connecticut and New Jersey because New Jersey is my hometown. I used to be a journalist. I am currently a copywriter. I used to work for UFC. I did stuff for Maxim. I did stuff for local newspapers like Daily Record and the Star Ledger. Like if you're in New Jersey, you'll know those things. But currently, I'm a copywriter, and I've loved comics my whole life since I was sick in the hospital, and my dad brought me comics to make me feel better, and I was like, what is this? This is amazing. And I was always aware of Spider-Man and Batman because of the animated shows, because I loved those as a kid. But I was like, I would love to do this. I would love to try this. And then I put pen to paper, and I could not draw to save my life. My mom could draw. My mom was a fashion designer, so she would draw all these great things, and I was like, oh, here's my version, and she'd be like, oh, let's, just, you're doing okay, but like it wasn't a great job. So I didn't get the art gene, but I did get the writing gene. So as I became more and more of a writer in journalism and in other things, I was like, you know what, I want to give this a shot. So I linked up with Comics Experience. They have classes online, and I was able to do it on my schedule, and the community there was very, very positive and very, we had very good constructive feedback and criticism. So I was able to workshop Slowpokes in their one-shot class, and here it is, which is even crazier to see. But like it went from nothing. This happened last year actually, and a year later, here we are.
There's so much to unpack here, Steve.
Yes,
really
sorry,
is.
I'm a bit of a rambler.
No. And the reason why is because I'm only privileged to the fact that I had got to watch one of your interviews in the past, and I know that what you're talking about is a decent time period. So I'm gonna go ahead and regress, and I'm gonna go back. Now, you made mention that you were introduced to comics when you were sick, and you tried a hand at art, but what that worked into is you found your love for writing in that.
Yes.
So can you find that time when you feel that you have identified that time, and go back in your mind and describe to the community what that was like, because I don't think most of us realize when we identify with something like that, and when we do, sometimes we look past it, but you found it. Can you talk about that?
That's a very good question. Very, very well done. So sorry, you caught me by surprise. Not by surprise, but like you got me in the heart right here. But yeah. So like I was saying, I used to love Spider-Man and reading Spider-Man and watching the show. So I would always come up with stories in my head about like, what if Venom and Carnage mixed together, and that's another, entity of symbiote or something like that, or things that happened in Batman. Like, oh, what if Batman fought this type of villain? And that kind of brought me to like, you know what, I can create. Like I liked creating. What could I do to keep creating and keep being, imaginative and continue down that route? And through writing, I was able to find out, it's like, you know what, blank page is, anything could happen, anything can go down. You can do anything. So that kind of led me to writing and going down that path. And then when I would go to college, and I was a creative writing major and a communication major, and I would be in writing class, and it would be like, yeah, sure. Like I would write down crazy ideas, and they'd be like, yeah, just keep going. They're very encouraging. Nobody was telling you like, oh, that's stupid, or why would you ever do that? It's like, this idea is crazy, keep going. So that's kind of had my approach to writing and to slow.
That's really cool. Awesome. And I'm sure probably Chrissy, there's something there I'm sure you could identify, right? Because there's a couple sentences and words you use that I've heard you say before.
Oh, it's like, it was funny because like when I was looking at the Slowpoke's Kickstarter, I was amused because it kind of reminded me of TerrorVision. And you take something like a sloth, or like the cinnamon bun sort of mild looking animal that really just doesn't really want to do anything, and it looks like they've been genetically engineered or trained to become killers, and that's just the funniest shit ever. And it just looks ridiculous, like I don't give a fuck kind of thing, where you just say like, yeah, I'm just drawing this really diminished shit and everything. I mean, it's like it's sometimes like when I think of my friend Lawrence, he does Real Deal Comics, and the Real Deal Comics, it's like about GC Gangsta Cool and his friends and everything, and they're from Oakland, and they go around just murdering and killing and doing gangbanging shit and just doing all this like horrible ghetto shit to people, but it's just funny though, even though it's really messed up. And then it's just, as I said, it's just one of those things, like it's sort of one of those like, haha, it's horrible and it's awful stuff happening to people, but then at the same time it's just funny though.
Which I definitely want to touch on that. And so in your writing, you decided you wanted to go ahead and interweave the comedy into your horror. It wasn't something that you just went horror for either the sake of just being shocked or for the sake of delivering a specific message to open your mind up to by using horror. You decided to go the more difficult route. You decided to interweave comedy. So you got to tell us how, one, gave you this idea to do so, and two, I mean, most people don't have that ability to do so. So how do you find it so easy to do? Because you had me cracking up just by looking at the imagery.
So I'm a bit of a goofball, a little bit of a clown, and I've always, so the idea from Slowpokes came from, it was a few years ago. I was at work, and a lot of people were talking about like Sharknado or those type of sci-fi movies, like Mansquito. And you'd see these things. I would go to Blockbuster, and I would see these covers for like The Dentist or Ice Cream Man with Ron Howard's brother, and you're just like, what is this? Like, what? Why are I'm curious. It sounds ridiculous, but I'm curious because I want to see it. So I thought about, like, I was like, oh, what are they going to do next? Like, sloths become fast and they become killing machines. And then I was like, oh, I should back pocket that. That's kind of funny. I should try to figure that out. And then when I was in class, I was like, you know what, I want to do something to just entertain myself, and if it entertains other people, that'd be great. But I just want to play around, and what it sounds like a good challenge. Like, you know what I mean, play around with these killer sloths that are fast. Like, what's the craziest thing I could come up with? And I got a lot of good response, and I was like, I think I might have something here.
Now, I got to ask, how long did it take for you from the time of this conception of this idea to the time that we're at now? How long did it take for you to go ahead and develop this idea and get it to where, it's this, but essentially it's done, right? From my understanding, you're done.
It is done, yes. So I actually started around last year taking the class, and it was done by, I'd say, December. So I wrote a lot about things that happened to me in high school with people I know. Like, a lot of the characters are based on people that I know and some experiences that I've had growing up. And it kind of it fell out. Like, it just fell out of my brain, and I was like, this isn't that bad. And then the people who were looking at it were like, oh, can't wait for the sequel. Or I was like, all right, then I gotta put this out there. I was like, what's the worst that could happen? If people like it, people who like it will like it. People who don't like it won't like it, and that's okay. But as long as people react to it and respond to it, and they have fun, as long as people have fun with my comics, I'm cool with that.
Yeah, I can relate to that. Like, I did Demon Bitch, and it's about a low-level demon from the 13th pit of hell, and it's based on like girls that I really hated because they were bitches. And so I just draw them in doing stupid things. And unfortunately or fortunately for me, a lot of those things that she does, that's actually pretty autobiographical, because those are things that they actually did or said a lot of the time, or followed in their logic paths. So it's like, I get it. And sometimes you just have to say screw it and just draw it.
Yeah, for me, it's like, what's the worst that could happen? I was like, somebody will take a look at this, whether it's one person, or 10 people. I knew that at least one person would be like, killer sloths, I got to take a look at that.
I mean, also, you got to look at it too. Like, when you do something that crazy, this is what I learned, is that even if somebody thinks it sucks, that adds to the charm. Like, Sharknado was never meant to be like, what is
taken seriously? No,
absolutely not.
Award-winning material, although that would be funny if it was. But it's not meant to be high-end, highbrow Shakespeare. No, even though ironically, when you look at Shakespeare, it wasn't really highbrow anyway to begin with. But let's go with that, right? And the thing is that there's kind of a thing, like a solace in that, like, for at least with me with Demon Bitch. And again, I'm not trying to bring the thing to me, but just from my own experiences, when people say, I really hate Demon Bitch, she sucks, I said, yeah, that's the point.
Yeah.
Either way I win. So it's like,
it's kind of like a badge of honor too, because it's like, I love it. I don't care if anybody else loves it or not. It's like, this is mine. Like, this is something that I created. So.
And the thing is that what's nice is that you're not taking yourself seriously. It's not like you put out something shitty on purpose. It's just that, well, maybe that's its charm, Yeah. Like, for me, it's like, it's meant to be shitty on Demon Bitch. That's why it's like, people are like, well, I don't like it, I hate it. I'm like, that's okay, it sucks too anyway. So it's like with Slowpokes, I mean, you could go with that route. I'm not saying like it does. It's funny, it's funny, it has its own charm, but you say you hope people like it. I think people will like it either way, even if they think it's the trashiest piece of shit on earth. Yeah. Because, and I'm not saying it is. I'm just saying
it very well could be. Listen, it's all. As long as somebody reacts to it, good, bad, I am all for it, because this is my first time doing this, and it's like, if somebody said nothing about it, I would be like, oh no, I didn't do what I was supposed to do.
Yeah,
that would be horrible.
What I can appreciate about this is that, one, you're very ambitious. You didn't decide to do something as a one shot. You didn't do, this is, from what I read, this is a 5-issue miniseries, correct?
Oh, no. This is the first, this is one issue. This is a one shot.
Okay.
So maybe I'm not as ambitious yet. Maybe.
Okay. No. But the other thing that you did do is you surrounded yourself by the right people too. When I'm reading who you have between the artist and then the letterer, I'm familiar with. I know his work. I know, because he's worked with Frank Gogol for a while. You know what I mean? You surrounded yourself by the right people to launch the right project at the right time. And what I mean also at the right time is your goal is to launch at basically Halloween, right?
Yes, correct.
So let's talk about the bodies in which that you have that completed this project work with you. So could you talk about the crew that you have, Juan and Sean?
Sure. So Juan Romero and Sean Reinhardt, so I also worked with Paul Allor and Andy Schmidt from Comics Experience. They helped me, find them, and they gave their notes during the class about what to take out, what to put in, that type of thing. So through their creative services, department, they linked me up with them. I got to see their art, and I was like, these guys are perfect. Like, this definitely works for this. And I couldn't be happier. They did a very great job. I really didn't have to, noodle anything, or I just kind of put pen to paper, and they were like, yeah, that's great. That's fine. Let's do it this way. And I saw the art, and I was like, this is amazing. And this is exactly what I was envisioning in my head. So it all went very well. And I'm very excited. And they're both two very talented people. And I also, working with some of my friends, just from networking and working, I got the poster done. I got the music. I have a music video coming, or not a music video, a song coming that I made for Slowpokes. I had, the video that you saw in the Kickstarter is done by my good friend Kristen Greco. She works for Nickelodeon, and then for the artist for that one you see on the left here, that is by Vertebrae 33, who is a good artist that I'm friends with. That he's very talented.
Yeah, I did see the video, and we will be get to that real shortly. I did want to touch on, just the crew and which you decided to work with, and and how you put that together. And so now that I learned, one, how you put it together, and two, you kind of answered a question that I was going to ask, which was, I still want to kind of touch on it if I can. Chrissy, you have the luxury of being able to write something, and then when you write it, more times than not, I'm sure you're able to pretty much convey what's in your head, what you want to write it to. But as a writer, you don't really normally get that luxury unless you're an artist. So when you had these envisionments in your head, you're writing it out, how close was it to what you had in your head that they were able to convey in your artwork for this story?
I would say 100%, which is crazy to think about, because I didn't. Crazy. Yeah, because at first I was like, oh, I'll probably get some stuff back. It's like, oh, maybe this isn't right, or like this isn't the right thing. But it really came together very nicely, and they just got it right off the bat. I mean, there were of course minor tweaks, but it was just very, very, very minor things that it's like, oh, let's call it this instead. It wasn't them. So it was like 100%, which is crazy. So
so is that like a surreal experience to be able to see your stuff from like nothing to just there?
Yeah, it's all a surreal experience, because I never thought, well, I've always had in my mind that I wanted to write a comic. I never thought this was going to be the first one. I thought there were other things that I was going to do, and I was like, oh, Slowpokes, like that just sounds like so much fun. Let's just do that first, and we'll see what people think of it, and if hopefully if people like it, I'll be able to do more.
You know what? I think we've teased everybody and wet everyone's whistles enough. How about we go over to the video, and let's go ahead and show everybody, video-wise, what Slowpokes is all about.
That is for Paul Allor.
Man, that thing just every time I see that, it just cracks me up. One of my favorite scenes that you put in here in the Kickstarter is the scene where Everyone's on the roller coaster, and you see them going up, and you can see them going through the tunnel. And then when you see them come out, like half the crew's decapitated. Now, there you have a what I saw to be a 5-person main character crew in your story. Can you speak a little bit about these characters?
Sure, absolutely. Who do you want to start off with first?
Yeah, you might as well. How about left to right? Go in chronological.
All right, let's go with so Charity Simpson is a very strong female character who is biracial, and she is kind of the love interest of Karate Carlos. So the comic is about London James, who's in the middle there, he's dragged to basically his high school graduation party. So at my high school when I was growing up, there was a thing called Project Graduation, and after high school or after graduation, you would go to this like theme park type of thing. So I was like, oh, that would be a perfect thing to do for the Slowpokes, if it was in kind of like a lab facility. So Eden Rare, who's the character all the way on the right, she is like your Bill Gates or your Steve Jobs type of person, and she's running experiments in this big lab. But she also has kind of like the childlike wonder, and she wants to have a amusement park in her lab that she, not in her lab, but like in her facility that she can kind of rent out and give the kids joy. So while they're there, all hell kind of breaks loose, and the Slowpokes come into play.
Now, how many pages are we talking in this book?
It is 20 pages.
Okay. Now, there is a question in the chat. Well, there's two, but there's definitely one question in the chat that I definitely want to ask, which
all
is, right. Will Slowpokes get her there quicker?
They were, yes, they will.
And then actually the real one, which is, who inspired you to start creating comics?
I would say, like, I just reading Spider-Man growing up and just seeing all these superhero movies now. They're just, I feel like these things are the hottest thing going right now. Like growing up, like reading Wizard wasn't as cool as it could be now, I feel like. So like I loved right. Wizard, and loved all those type of things. So I also love horror. I'm a big horror movie fan, and just to get this out there, I feel like, I know there's a good amount of horror comics, but I feel like there's more of a chance to be seen in horror comics than, say, if I wrote like a horror movie or something like that. I know with at least a comic, it's like, all right, this is a visual aid of what you're going to get, as opposed to like, all right, here's a script. Do you like it? Do you not like it? There's nothing I can do about that. But with this, I can show exactly what it's in my head, and I feel like people will either like it, love it, or hate it.
Now, all these swag that we see, the shirts, the digital stuff, all that. Now, these are all unlockable items that people can go ahead and obtain, yes, depending on the levels of the Kickstarter that they jump in. Could you explain a little bit about that?
Sure. So we have lots of good swag out there. We got that poster that you're looking at by Vertebrae 33. We got a T-shirt with the Slowpokes on. It looks like it's coming right through your chest.
I love that.
We have for the high ticket price item, it's you can get yourself killed by a Slowpoke. Come Slowpokes 2, whenever that might be. I'm looking to hopefully do that by next year, but I still got to put pen to paper. There's a song, there's a podcast that if you want to get the podcast, it'll talk about, it'll go page by page and like where I kind of got my inspiration for each moment and characters and the overarching story, and just kind of a behind the scenes look at Slowpokes. Yeah, those are kind of the things that I have. Yeah, I think I covered it all. And then there's
how big
also,
do you see the sloth world getting? Could you see yourself really developing this into something almost ongoing?
I would love to do it ongoing. I have some ideas in my head. I have an idea for what Slowpokes 2 would look like, and if there's a 3 or 4, I have ideas for what that looks like. But I still got to put pen to paper. But I would love to continue this and just play around, because I'm like, this is a fun thing to play around in. If at the least it could be a sci-fi movie, at the most I think it could be a Universal Halloween haunted house, which would be awesome. That's the goal.
Actually, that's something when I saw this and I watched the video, it was something that I was thinking to myself is that I could actually see this as a nice 15-minute animation ongoing, like slotted in with something else.
Yeah. Listen, if anybody has any ideas for that, hit me up on Twitter, Instagram, the Steve Urena, or Slowpoke's Comic. I'm open to ideas.
Yeah.
This is.
Oh, go
no,
on,
please,
sorry.
Christy.
Please,
Christy.
Oh yeah, I'm just thinking so Marquis was asking the inspiration behind the 5-character crew of the series, but I'm just thinking you had mentioned that you were also in the hospital. What were you, if we may ask, like what do you want to touch upon that, and did that influence anything? I know it got you into comics kind of, but what did it influence you into?
So when I was a kid, I had a thing called HSP, and it was something to do like my blood cells were fighting with each other, and then like I would have bruises kind of like all over my body. It was only like a 2-week thing. Luckily, I was in the hospital for not that long, but it was a serious thing because my parents didn't know what it was, and they didn't know what it was at first, and they brought me to like the emergency room, and they thought maybe that I could die from it possibly, but then luckily like the doctors took a look and they're like, oh, this is something that does happen, but you'll be fine. So, but luckily comics like got me through that. I was in 1st grade, and it was very scary, but luckily just kind of getting that escape from all those comics definitely brought hope to the situation.
No, that's good. So it's like, what, out of curiosity, like what did you feel when you went through that as well? The reason why I'm asking is I kind of went through a life-threatening thing myself, so I can kind of relate.
So it was very scary. I mean, I was very young, but it was tough because I was like, why is everybody coming to see me? Like, why is everybody coming to the hospital room? How come I can't walk right? Like, how come I can't move correctly? And I was still very young to think about like, oh, maybe this is a permanent thing. I don't know, but it was definitely very scary, and it was definitely kind of eye-opening of you never take kind of things for granted. And like looking back on that, I was like, wow, that was kind of a scary moment in my life.
Yeah. I was just curious because like I went through my thing too. So it's like, I kind of wonder if that made you more prevalent to horror or to comedy or both.
Oh, you know what? I don't know. Maybe not then, but I definitely, so my mother is a cancer survivor. Like she beat it twice. And definitely through those moments, and I was a little bit older to like understand what was going on. Definitely through those moments of her going through that, it kind of made me like, all right, I need to put on a brave face, and I need to be able to like make my mom laugh and do that type of stuff. So I guess like comedy came through there. The horror stuff, I always loved. I love special effects. Like I loved. Dusk Till Dawn, I was always fascinated about how all that stuff worked. And I remember like Child's Play, like I loved as a kid. I was like, this is really scary for me, but I'm very curious as to how, how these things were created, and like this could be a job, like people can do this. And I actually got to meet Tom Savini this year, which was pretty cool. So it was just a very like, it was a dream come true. I was like, oh man, that's Tom Savini on the floor. Let me go say hello to him. So.
And what's Tom Savini known for? I'm just asking for people that may not know.
I'm sorry, say that again.
Tom Savini, who's he known?
He's known for like Dusk Till Dawn. He helped create Jason. He helped create a lot of like 80s movies, horror. He did all the special effects for those.
Oh, okay. So it's just I wanted to clarify for everybody.
Oh, no problem.
When
Sorry.
you said Savini, I was like thinking of Rodriguez, because Rodriguez and Tarantino, because they're more highlighted on Dusk Till Dawn.
Yeah, he's the guy with the penis gun in Dusk Till Dawn.
Oh, the penis gun, that's him, huh?
Yes, that's him, yes.
Oh, I didn't know that. I didn't know he acted in it, too. Wow.
That I didn't know either.
Yeah, he's the guy. He had the whip, he had the bull whip, and the penis gun.
Yeah, like they opened it and then blew away one of the vampires.
Yeah.
Although, I mean, looking at it like the actual acoustics of like the actual mechanics of guns, that actually would probably hurt the person more.
Yeah.
Recoil, that would probably not be a good idea.
I think that's another movie too. It's just like that happens, and then it's like, oh, it's a healing process of that happening.
Hey Titus, what's up?
So I mean, yeah, I'm so when I first saw this, I was so in, and I am still so in, and I can't wait till this thing comes out. So the reason why is we're gonna try to get some of these books and throw them in our 1-2 Comic Talk Indie box. Now you, because of the popularity of this one, you've already met, right, what you were looking for to meet on your Kickstarter.
Yes, I am very lucky, and it is very crazy to see the response that it's been getting. So I only wanted to put in $2,000 because I was like, you know what, if I make half my money back, that's fine. That's fair to ask, and I think that's okay. And I figured a lot of my friends would just be like, all right, we'll give him some charity or something like that. You know what I mean? Kind of like, he's doing the sloth thing. Like, I don't know, we'll give him $5 or whatever. But luckily, it is taken off, and we've gotten orders from Malaysia and Germany and Poland and Canada, and to me, that is nuts. So I am very appreciative of all of that. And again, right now, like the goal is met, but I just want people to check it out. That's basically what this is going for now.
And again, originally your print run, you initially only anticipated 100 units that you were going to do, correct?
Yes, I was going to start with 100, and then if more people wanted it, I didn't think more than that would want it. I thought maybe like, however, it is like 127 or 128. So I am looking probably to do a bigger print run than I anticipated. So I'm very excited for that. But in this time of COVID and everything, they're still digital. I'm happy to do that. And then after the Kickstarter's done, I got to find a place to put it. So if people just randomly come across it without the Kickstarter, they can purchase it.
After looking at the art, it's my recommendation to you, the community out there, you don't want just the digital. You actually want to get to the level, which is not that high, to be able to get the actual hard printed copy. That's my recommendation. The reason why is you're not going to get a full flavor of all this art just digitally, and you're going to want it.
That is true. That is true. The art is very colorful, and it's very vibrant and graphic too, which is awesome. Which is awesome. So it will be a better experience, if you're thumbing through it, so you can kind of take it all in.
I think it does take talent for somebody to write about something that would not be very funny to something that is very funny. For me, that's why I like a lot of indie comics, because sometimes they're crazy as shit. Like, somebody could write a thing about sloths and make it so serious and all that. But then, like, there are other ones, like, they just, like, dwell on, like, ridiculousness. Like, there's Meg and Mog, and, like, all it is just shows what it's like. Basically, all the Halloween characters, like Werewolf Man, although I think he's named something else. He's just a wild nut who does drugs and does stupid sexual things. To Owl, to Meg, who is a witch, and her boyfriend Mog, who is a black cat like this one. Like, she's like, what? She's an original like there's the original black cat, and they have like real things, and they get just stoned all day. And you think that on itself was like funny enough, but they just go there. They just like, it's just like a really stream of consciousness thing. So
that's awesome.
You make that funny.
I love the indie comics that are on Kickstarter right now. I purchased a bunch of them, and I'm very excited just to thumb through them and go through them, because like, listen, Marvel's great, DC, all that stuff is great, but it's like, if I went into Marvel or DC with the slots, they'd probably kick me out. Like, I mean, I don't think they would bite at that the first time. I just had to get it out there, because it's like, why not? What's the worst that could happen? You get killed by a sloth. That's the worst that could happen.
Yeah, I mean, it's just like you just write it and you just do it. And like, the thing is, I think you can tell with a person whether it's just a job or if they're really having fun with it. If you just can read it in between the lines, I think people can tell.
Yeah, I hope so. I had a lot of fun writing it, and if whenever that next one comes out, I'm looking forward to getting back into the Slowpoke's headspace of doing another one. But it was a lot of fun, and I hope people have fun reading it.
Yeah. So I mean, like, I think there's something really good if you're like just dicking around too, like on your comics. Like, people can see that, but they enjoy that because it's like, then that becomes part of the comic as well. So I'm not saying you weren't serious about this. I'm just saying that, like, you're just dicking around. That's funny too. That has its own share of.
I am serious about not being serious. So
yeah. Yeah. So it's
And
like I
you
said,
know what? I think that comes across in the writing in itself as far as what you're doing. You know what I mean? To me, that's some of the fun of the writing of what you're doing. We know that you're not taking it too serious, and that's part of the fun of the joy of the ride of Slowpokes.
Yeah, absolutely.
Hey,
I mean,
what I want to really touch on before we end up wrapping up is that this is your first project. Again, I know I've already mentioned that again, but this is something that is not easy, and you've been able to, in my opinion, do this in a very quick amount of time. You've been able to surround yourself with the right people. You've been able to achieve your goal and double it. You've been able to keep everything in such perfect order that I want to basically applaud you. You know, the reason why you're on the show is I've been following you and I've been seeing your progress. And with everyone that I've been talking to, you impressed me. So between the story, between how well you've executed, your plan, I had to have you on here. So thank you, Steve.
Well, thank you. No, thank you guys for having me on. I'm very lucky that Comics Experience was able to, match me up with Juan and Sean. But luckily, I had a few friends that ran Kickstarters themselves, so I definitely picked their brain about like what I should do, what I shouldn't do, and a lot of people gave me some really good advice, and I'm very lucky. But we're almost not at Halloween just yet, but I'm looking forward to learning and hopefully using this experience to do another one.
Could you do one favor for me and put up your right finger and show that beautiful Slowpoke thing that you're just right there? Look at that. Look at that. Look at that. Right. No, you had it. Right there.
Oh, right there.
Yeah, look at that. Look at that. Look at that guy. He's cute. How do we get one?
Oh, so my girlfriend actually got this. Where did you get it from? She got it from Target, and it is right there. We have tons of sloth stuff that we've got for Halloween. We got this mummy.
Oh my God.
I saw you messing with that. That was funny.
Yes. So we got the mummy, and here you bring down the other thing. Yeah. So, and for Valentine's Day, because I was prepping Slowpokes for about a year. So my girlfriend Allegra was brewed me on the whole way. So I got her a nice Valentine's gift. Hold on, she's going to go get it. But yeah, I'm all about the sloths, and even on Twitter for the Slowpokes Twitter, like it's all sloth gifts and sloth reactions. Like that's the point. And then I got this for my girlfriend.
Oh no way!
Naughty, you fine.
That's cute. Oh.
Here she is. Here, say hello. No, yeah, come on. This is her. She's saying hello.
Hi. Hello.
I love your work. Damn, Steve. Hey, it was a pleasure to have you on. I'm telling everybody right now, you got to jump aboard this thing. It doesn't cost much to get in. You get the digital. There's so much swag in there. Go visit the site. Everything's in the links below. And hey, before we go, Steve, I want to again thank you. Is there anything that you would like to tell the community out there?
Thank you. Just thank you guys for having me on, and I really appreciate this. Hopefully this means I could come back again with another comic when the time is right. But you guys have been great, and this has been a great interview, and I'm very excited to show the world Slowpokes. So thank you guys so much.
Thank you, Steve. Hey, Christy, I can't ever imagine doing this show without you. I know I'm going to be busy and things are going to be happening, and we're going to still try to work in our stuff. And I know you've been busy and you've been taking care of stuff yourself, but I want to take this moment to tell the community that I am very grateful to you and very appreciative to you. And as much as you've always been here for me, I just want to again thank you for that.
Appreciate it. Thank you.
Yeah. Is there anything you want to yell at the community about?
Go support his Kickstarter. Go look at our websites. Support, man. That's all I got to say. And I just do lunch hour every day, Monday through Friday. So catch me there. I think that's pretty much it. Obligatory, hey, look at me stuff.
Awesome, Christy. Hey, thank you. And I appreciate you being here again.
Thank you.
Community. I'm always grateful for you being here. And yes, this was a little bit different that we did on Tuesday. We got another one coming on this Saturday. It's Emma Kubert. We'll have another one at the next Saturday after that. It'll be Jeff Stokely. After that, not quite certain what's happening. We're going to be talking. We're going to be figuring it out. But what I also want to make mention is that JB goes through a lot of work. I want to just, thank Discovery Bay Network and JB TV for bringing you everything that you see in front of you. Other than that, we could all do better. We can all be kinder. As much as I have care and love for you, do the same for yourself and others. And we're out from 1-2 Comic Talk. Thank you very much.